Hello there, Gemini. Thank you so much for stopping by for your bi-weekly reading. This reading is for April the 17th through May the 1st, Geminis. You have cards falling all over the place. Not feeling like I'm ready to stop shuffling yet, though, so we're going to keep on and see what comes up for you. I do want to thank all of you for watching this video, for spending your precious time with me. And I want to remind you that if this is the video and these types of videos that I do are helpful for you, please give a thumbs up and please share with other people you think this may be helpful to as well. The whole point of putting energy and effort into free videos is being able to help as many people as possible. So you guys doing those two things helps me to reach out to as many people as possible. Those of you who would like to get a reading, I do have information about live readings or recorded readings on my website, which is in the description box below. And the address is www.amista.info. I-N-F-O. Alrighty, let's get started for Gemini. I hope you guys will excuse my hair tonight. I washed it this morning. I have yet to run a brush through it. I just ran a pick through it. Okay, so your cards are down, and just for the record, what we're using is the Chrysalis Tarot. It is my newest deck, and I really, really like it. It speaks quite loudly, and it has a little bit of different meanings than some of the other more traditional tarots. So let's get started, shall we? So Geminis, what you have showing up here, first of all, talks to me about your environment. And your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. For most people, it is home. For some people, it's school or it's work. So you want to kind of have an open mind about what your environment might be. So what we have coming up for you is Hernie the Hunter. This is just telling me that Geminis, a lot of you are in environments where you are cooperating with other people to make that environment something that is what you want it to be or the ideal. All right, so there's a lot of cooperation going on in your environment, Geminis. Kind of a nice thing, actually. Some of you could be in co-housing communities. Some of you could have people bringing things to make the work environment nicer. A lot of different ways that that could manifest, but cooperating with other people to make that environment more ideal. Next, let's look at your subconscious leanings, Geminis. What you have showing up here is the Four of Stones. Now, subconscious leanings, Geminis, I think you're really working on saving, putting resources back, whether they're financial or otherwise. You want to have a cushion to fall back on. For some of you, this is definitely going to be financial. You're working out, how can I get my retirement plan in place? You know, how can I get a stash back so that I can buy a new car when I want it? How can I put back a stash so that I can invest in something? But for others of you, this isn't so much financial as it is emotional, making sure that your relationships are in good standing, solidifying those, making sure that you have that safety net of people who care around you. Okay, so that's in your subconscious leanings. Next, Geminis, what we have coming up for you talks to me about two different things. Talks to me about, first of all, your learning style, and secondly, your communication style. The card that came up is the Sorceress. I don't read this card as I would typically read a card, so you should know that as I give these meanings and you're like, what? What planet is she from? That's not what that card would mean. So first of all, when I look at your communication style, I really see a very mixed bag here for you Geminis. I think that with some people or on some topics, you're very cool about your communication. You're kind of letting people know things as they need to know. And then on other topics, or maybe it's with other people for some of you rather than other topics. What we have going on is that you are very open and transparent in your communications. You're making sure that they know what it is you're working on or considering or thinking about, whatever that is. You're very open. Okay, so that's looking at communication style for you, Geminis. Hello there, Queen Goddess. Yay, yay. I hope that you get some good stuff out of this then. The next thing that I'm looking at here is learning style. I think you're learning some things very, very quickly, Geminis. And I think that you're probably not even being given total and complete information before you're putting bits and pieces of details and information together, and you are coming to conclusions before those conclusions are being revealed or taught to you. And I think that's happening because whatever it is you're learning about, you're very, very, very interested. You're passionately interested in this. So if you're learning about a person, you're putting bits and pieces of details together and going, that means this. If you're learning about, a hobby or a project at work, same thing, putting bits and pieces of information together and coming to forward-thinking conclusions way before anybody has a chance to get there and explain that to you. Excuse me. Also, whatever this is that you're learning, you're very passionate about this. You're very fired up about it. All right. Next thing I'm looking at talks to me about work. Those of you who have been with me a while know that work is two things for me. It is that way that we make a living or feel productive in the community, but it's also those things that we do to improve our own inner character for ourselves. Gotcha. Very cool. Thank you for the verification, Queen Goddess. Okay, so what we have actually coming up when I'm looking at work is the Moon card for you, Geminis. Let's see, what does that mean? Oh, there goes a whole bunch of hair. All right, so a lot of you Geminis, I think whenever it comes to work, you're the person that's giving direction. You're the person that is more or less the anchor. You're the person that a lot of people rely on at work to have direction and guidance about what they should be doing, what they should be working on next. You're showing up as a natural leader. Whether you're paid to be the leader or not can be a whole other story. But I've got this compass showing up and jumping out at me from this card in the upper hand part of the moon. You guys are the one that are setting the course whenever it comes to work. Okay? Whether you're doing that in an official capacity or unofficial, inconsequential. This card says that you are setting the course. Now, as far as inner work, Geminis, I think you're doing a lot of writing. Some of you are doing a lot of journaling. I'm hearing the word journaling. Some of you are doing a lot of journaling. Others of you, you are not so much journaling as much as you're writing messages, writing letters. Maybe you're even writing a book. There's something to do with putting things in writing that is bringing a lot of healing to you Geminis right now, and that's your inner work. Okay, excuse me. All right, next up. We're looking at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. What we have showing up is the Nine of Mirrors in reverse. This is telling me, Geminis, that you're finding yourself in a situation where you're not totally and completely self-reliant. You're having to count on other people's generosity right now. I count on other people's help. Okay, and you're learning, how do I deal with this? I don't necessarily like counting on other people's help. Not that it's bad to have it, but I don't like having to count on it. And I think that you are learning how to deal with being in this position. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to become a better receiver? Are you going to find a new way to bring in the things that you need? There's something going on around this where you're not completely 100% self-sufficient and you are experiencing this so that you can learn how to go from this state of being to being self-sufficient. Okay? That's where you're growing or expanding. Next, Gemini, is what we're looking at, talks to me about those things that you stand for. This card is ruled by Mars. So you could stand for this quite assertively, to say the least, about the most, given the situation, just depending on the situation. Okay? So, Geminis, what you stand for, you've got the Ace of Spirals showing up in reverse. This is just telling me that there's something that you were feeling really inspired about and you did want to take on and start with, and now you're feeling like, what's the point? What is the point? And I think somebody has even said to you, now wait a second, you were all gung-ho about this. How come you don't care now? How come now all you want to do is lay on the couch? And you've had to say to them, well, think about it. Da, 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 da. Now, how about you step off the curb, Jack? This is my step off the curb, Jack card. For those of you who have been getting readings with me for a long time, you know that almost every time I come to this card, step off the curb, Jack, is a phrase that comes up. This is you defending yourself for something that you've done that somebody's confronting you about. And it almost always, this card almost always comes to me across as the other person needs to mind their own business. So that's why the step off the curb, Jack, comes out almost every time. Okay, so let's look next at how other people perceive you. This is the person that you had to tell to step off the curb. This is really how they perceive you. And what you have here is the Four of Spirals. Okay, so they're seeing you as somebody who is separate from them. They're not seeing you as being on the same team. It's interesting because at the same time that they're seeing you as separate and not being on the same team, they're also seeing this as a temporary thing. They're like, oh, she'll come around or he'll come around. Okay. All right, so all of that stuff you're probably going to recognize, Geminis. The next part of the spread that I'm looking at is going to be the lesson or experience that you're basically being set up to go through during this life cycle. And we're going to look at what happens as you go through that lesson or experience. So from this point forward, you may or may not have already had some of this stuff happen. You may or may not recognize it, okay? And also, let's remember it is a general reading, so not everything I say here is going to apply to every single Gemini. If you guys want one where I look at just your particular energies, that's what private readings are for, okay? But this is a general reading. And so, Geminis, what you have showing up here as the lesson or the experience is one that talks about feeling like you're in the dark, feeling like you don't have enough information to move forward. This may tie in with that whole feeling of not feeling sufficient. You may be thinking that other people have information that I need. But what I'm picking up here is you're feeling like you're in the dark, like you don't have all the information that you need. You're not in the know enough to be able to move forward confidently right now. That's the lesson or experience. So you either are already experiencing this or you will be shortly. As you are experiencing this feeling of being kind of in the dark, you have the Page of Spirals showing up, which tells me that you do get a new idea to do something completely different and go off in a whole new direction. I think this idea that you don't have enough information to make a good decision and move forward confidently has made you think, okay, what other avenue can I explore instead then? And you've come up with some other ideas about things you can do instead of trying to feel around in the dark. Something else you can pursue. At the same time that that's going on, and once again, because you're feeling like you're in the dark over here, we have the Ace of Scrolls showing up in reverse. This is confirmation of feeling like you don't have enough information. And in fact, it's kind of saying that the information that you do have, you don't really trust that information. So not only do you not have enough information, but the information that you do have, you're not really trusting your source, where that information is coming from. That may not be a trustworthy source. Or maybe you have other reasons why you don't trust that source, but for whatever's going on, the information that you do have, you're not really sure that it's solid either. Okay? And then what we have coming up as the fulfillment of this life cycle, which just kicks off the next one, is we have the healer showing up in reverse. And when you've got the healer showing up in reverse, this is telling me that this being in the dark about something, this not being able to believe something, this wanting to start something new, instead of dealing with this stuff that you don't really know the truth about for sure, that this keeps you from healing up. It keeps you from getting closure. Not knowing the truth has done the opposite of setting you free. Knowing the truth is what sets you free. You're feeling like you're still bound, like you're still tied to the situation where you don't know all the information. Okay? So that's where we have this leaving off, Geminis, at the end of 2 weeks. And to be quite honest with you, these time frames can go more than 2 weeks. They can also go a lot less than 2 weeks. It depends how quickly you deal with that lesson or experience and move forward with it. Or if you kick against it and try to resist it, then that can really slow down this time frame and it can make it last a lot longer. Okay? Hello there, Miss Lorraine. Yes, we are up late. Thank you for being here. How are you? So that's the end of Gemini. Thank you, everybody, for being here and for hanging out with me. I do appreciate that. And if you find this video helpful, please go ahead and put a thumbs up on it. That way it'll get up higher in other people's feeds so that they can see that. And then if you found help from this video, please share it with others on your Facebook or Twitter or wherever, so that others may find help from it as well. Thank you very much. It has been a while since we've had signs. I mean, well, we had signs every day, but it was just little tiny blurbs. It's not the most happy ending of the life cycle, but remember that that life cycle kicks off the next one. So in the next one is when you generally find resolution, when you end with one that's not the resolution that you're looking for. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. It's time for me to log off. Everybody have a fantastic, wonderful evening, or if you're over in Europe or Africa, have a fantastic, wonderful day, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.